Right, so today we're gonna create our own NPC spawner. So first of all, what you're gonna need is a finished NPC. For my case, I'm gonna use this AI generated 3D model that includes also AI generated animations. The link for the AI is in the description. You can also check out the 3-day free trial for the pro plan. Alright, so I finished my NPC over here. If we go to over here, this is the game window. And if we spawn an enemy character, right now, as you can see, the character is in the idle animation. But if you spawn the enemy character, it's gonna start attacking the enemy character. Alright, so now that you finished that thing, what we're gonna do is create the NPC spawner. So first thing that we have to do is we're gonna go over here. This is our character, as you can see, and we're just gonna drag and drop it to over here. And now what we're gonna do is start creating our spawner. So first of all, we're gonna right click over here and we're gonna create an empty game object. And we're gonna name it spawner, like this. Now what we can do is basically add another game object that's gonna represent the spawner. So we're just gonna right click and go under 3D objects and create a cube. Alright, so now we're gonna select our spawner over here and we're gonna reset the position. So we're gonna set it to the center of the map, like this. And now what we're gonna do is just select our cube and move it a little bit down like this. Alright, so this thing is gonna represent our spawner. You can also use any game object that you want to represent the spawner. For example, I'm gonna use this AI generated one. So I'm just gonna put it over here, put it on the ground like this. Now I can delete the cube over here. You can just keep the cube if you want. And now what we're gonna do is basically just add the material for it. So I'm gonna go under the materials, select my object and add the material like this. Alright, so this is gonna represent my spawner. Now I also want to show which object I want to spawn. So in my case, I'm gonna spawn this Dark Knight over here. So I'm going to select my Dark Knight, duplicate it and just put it under the spawner over here. Now I'm gonna reset the position, so I'm just gonna put it all to 0 like this. And I'm gonna resize it a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna reduce the scale to 1.3 like this and just copy it to all the rest of the axes. And now as you can see, we have the spawner over here. We're not gonna be needing any UI for this, so I'm just gonna expand my NPC and I'm gonna delete the canvas like this. And the next thing that we have to do is we don't want the player to mix up the real NPC with the NPC that represents the spawner. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go over here and under the character. As you can see, we have the material over here and this is the material for the character. So I'm just gonna duplicate it over here using my keyboard. And now under the duplicated version, I'm gonna go under the surface type and we're gonna make it transparent. So we're gonna check transparent over here. And now we can select our base map, click on the color, and make it transparent. But before this takes effect, we have to also go to over here and just drag and drop it over here. Now as you can see, the character is transparent, but it also has a sword that we have to duplicate the material for. In my case, this is this material over here. We're gonna duplicate it and do the same thing. So we're gonna use transparent, use the base map, reduce the alpha over here like this. And now we have to find the sword in the character. So we're gonna go under the armature, hips, spine, another spine, and then we're gonna go under the right shoulder, right arm, right forearm, hand, and as you can see over here, here's my sword. So I'm just gonna drag and drop this material to over here. And now as you can see, the sword is also transparent. So if we go to the game window, as you can see right now, it looks like this. Now we're gonna select this thing and just adjust it a little bit more. Alright, so this is how our spawner is gonna look. Now we're gonna move it a little bit to the center, so we're gonna go under the spawner and we're gonna move it a little bit like this so we can see it better. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is select our character over here. As you can see, we still have the rigid body over here. So for the rigid body, we're gonna freeze all the positions and also the rotation. We're not gonna need any collider, so we're just gonna remove it. And also we want to remove the script that controls the character, so we don't need this right now. We're gonna remove it, and now if we go to over here, we also have a tag for it, so we're gonna remove this thing. And now we're gonna click play. And as you can see, because we kept the animator, the spawner is also playing the idle animation, so this is pretty cool. Alright, so this is gonna be our spawner. Now let's create a script for it. So we're gonna go under the spawner over here, and we're gonna go under add component, and we're gonna name it spawner, like this. We're gonna create a script. And now we can open up script. Alright, so first of all, what we're gonna do is go back to Unity, and as you can see, we already saved the prefab of the character over here. So what we can do now is we can just go to over here and delete this character from the scene. The next thing that we have to do is we're gonna go under the script, and we're gonna link this character to script. So we're gonna go over here, and we're just gonna type public game object, and we're gonna name it character, like this. Now we can save it, go back to Unity and link this character to the script. Now we can just drag and drop this character to over here. So now this character is linked to the script, and we can use this character to actually copy it inside of the game. Alright, so now we're going to go over here, and the next thing that we have to do, we're going to add a variable that's going to limit the amount of characters that we can spawn with this spawner. So we're going to type public int maximum spawns like this, and we're going to set it to 3. So this spawner is going to be able to spawn 3 characters. Now the next thing that we have to do is also add an int value that's going to count the current amount of characters that are inside of the game. So we're going to type public int current spawns, and we're going to set this to 0. Like this, and we're also going to add a delay for the spawner, so it's going to spawn a new character every 1 second. So we're going to type public float delay, and we're going to set it to 1 second like this. Alright, so the first thing that we have to do is check if the current spawns is smaller than maximum spawns, which means that we can still spawn another character and it's not going to be more than the max spawns. So we're going to go over here, and if this is true, then we want to count down the delay. So we're going to check if the delay is bigger than 0. If this is true, then we want to count down the delay. So we're going to type delay equals delay minus time dot delta time. By using minus time dot delta time, this means that if you set delay to 1, it's going to take 1 second for the delay to reach 0. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is we're going to add a else statement over here. And inside of the else statement, which is going to run when the delay hits 0, we want to set the delay back to 1 second. So we're going to set the delay to 1 like this. And also, because we're spawning a character over here, we're going to increase the current spawns by 1. So we're going to type current spawns equals current spawns plus 1, like this. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is we're basically going to calculate the position. So first thing, we're going to add a brand new function over here. So we're going to go below the update function, which means over here. And we're going to type private void select random spawn point, like this. And over here we're going to select a random spawn position for the character. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to save this thing, go back to Unity, and we're going to add a few things. So we're going to go under our spawner over here, and under the scene view we're going to go to the spawner that's over here, as you can see. And the first thing that we have to do is right click over here and add a brand new empty game object like this, and we're going to name it maximum X. So by using this game object, we're going to select the maximum X position where the NPCs can still spawn. Alright, so over here we're going to set the X axis to 5 like this, and this is going to be the maximum position. So we also can go to over here and make it red like this, so we can see it all the time. Alright, so this is going to be fine. Now we're going to also right click over here and create another empty game object, and over here we're going to select the maximum Z position. Alright, so this is on the 0 position, and we're going to set it to 5 over here. We can also set this to red over here, as you can see. Alright, so this is going to be fine. So as you can see, this is our maximum position for the Z values and maximum position for the X values. So our characters are going to be spawning in this square. So like this, and like this, and like this, and like this. So basically they're going to spawn inside of this square. This is going to be the maximum position, and the spawner is going to be selecting a random position inside of this square to spawn a character. So for example, over here, over here, over here, over here, or wherever on the map inside of this square. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is link these game objects to the script. So we're going to go back to our script. We're going to go up, and over here we're going to add a public transform, and we're going to name it maximum X, and also public transform, and we're going to name it maximum Z like this. Now we're going to save this, go back to Unity, and link it to the script. Alright, so let's go back to Unity and just link the maximum X to maximum X and also maximum Z to maximum Z like this. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to over here and we're going to add a few variables. So we're going to go over here and we're just going to type private float random X. This is where we're going to save the random X position for the spawning of the NPC, and also we have to type random float random Z like this. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back to Unity, and over here we're going to add another game object. So we're going to go to the spawner and we're going to right click it, create an empty game object, and we're going to name it spawn position. So we're going to use this game object to actually show where we're going to spawn the character. So we can actually see it better. We're going to go again to over here and we're going to select a yellow color over here. Alright, so this is going to be fine. Now we're going to go back to script. We're going to link this game object to the script. So we're going to type public transform and we're going to name it spawn position like this. Now we're going to save it, go back to Unity, click on the spawner and drag and drop it over here
like this. Alright, so now we're gonna go back to our code. We're gonna create a random spawn position. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna create a calculation. So basically anywhere on the map that this object is located, this is gonna be the maximum spawn position for the X values and for the Z values, and also the same thing for the minus values over here. Alright, so to do this, we're gonna go back to our code, and inside of the new function that we created, we're gonna go first of all over here and we're gonna type float distance X equals transform dot position. This is the position of the spawner, and we're gonna type minus maximum X dot position dot X, and this is the position of the maximum X game object over here, as you can see. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is the same thing for the Z values. So we're gonna go over here and type float distance Z equals transform dot position dot Z. This is the position of the spawner. We're gonna lower this by maximum Z dot position dot Z, like this. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do is basically select a random X position and a random Z position. So we're gonna go first of all for the X position. So we're gonna type random X equals random dot range, and inside of these brackets we have to create the values for the maximum value, for the lower value, and for the maximum value. So first of all, let's start with the lower value, and we're gonna type inside of the brackets, we're gonna type transform dot position dot X plus distance X, like this. So this is for the minimum value, and also we have to type for the maximum value, which is maximum X dot position dot X, like this. And now we have to do the same thing for the Z value. So we're gonna type random Z equals random range, and the same thing we're gonna type inside of the bracket transform dot position dot Z plus distance Z, like this. And for the maximum value we're gonna type maximum Z dot position dot Z, like this. Alright, so this is gonna be fine. Now the next thing that we have to do is actually move the spawn position that we created earlier. So we're gonna be moving this object inside of this square over here. Alright, so we're gonna go back to our code and we're gonna type spawn position dot position equals new vector 3, and inside of the brackets we're gonna type random X for the X values. We're gonna ignore the Y axis, so we're gonna type spawn position dot position dot Y, like this. And over here we're also gonna type the random Z position, so we're gonna type random Z. Alright, so now we can save this. Alright, so this is gonna be fine. Now we can actually test out the code. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here, and in front of this we're gonna add the symbol, so this is gonna ignore this line of the code, so it's never gonna reach the maximum spawns, so we can actually see where the characters are gonna be spawning. We're also gonna be lowering the delay to 0.2 seconds, like this. So to run this function we're gonna go over here and we're gonna add select random spawn point, like this. Save it, go back to Unity, press play, and now if you go to the scene view, as you can see, this is moving around. So this is where the characters are going to be spawning, and as you can see, the yellow thing never passes this thing over here and never passes this thing. It does the same thing for the minus values, so we can actually show this if we duplicate these things right here. We can just duplicate it, and we can set this to -5, like this, and also set the -5 for the Z values. As you can see, now the spawns are always in this square over here. So if you would connect these lines, the characters are always spawning inside the square. Alright, so this is gonna be fine. Now we can stop the game and finish our script. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna uncomment this thing over here, and now we can actually spawn our characters. So first of all, what we're gonna do is we're also gonna need a rotation for the character. So before we spawn our character, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna type public quaternion, and we're gonna name it Q, like this. And now we're gonna go back to over here to our function, and we're gonna type Q equals quaternion dot euler, and inside of the brackets we're going to be typing new vector 3, and over here we're going to be setting a random rotation on the Y values. So we're going to go over here, and for X values we're going to set it to 0. We're going to be selecting a random rotation between 0 degrees and 360 degrees, so we're going to type random dot range, and inside of the brackets we're going to type the lower number, which is 0, and the maximum value, which is 160, but because the maximum value is never selected, we're going to type 161, because the last number is never randomly selected. So this is going to select a number between 0 and 360. So we also have to type comma over here and set the rotation for the Z values to 0, like this. Alright, so this is going to be fine. Now we can actually spawn our characters. So we're going to go to over here and we're going to type instantiate. So this is going to create a clone of the object. And first of all, we have to tell it which object we want to clone. So in our case, this is the character that will link to the script. So we're going to type character. And now we have to type the spawning position of the character. Spawning position is going to be spawn position dot position. So we're going to type spawn position dot position, like this. And now we also have to type the rotation of it. So the rotation is in quaternions, so we're gonna add Q over here. Like this. Now we can save it. And now the last thing that we have to do is we're gonna set the delay to 2 seconds. So we're gonna set the delay to 2 seconds. Now we're gonna go back to Unity. And now if we press play and wait a couple of seconds, as you can see, our characters are starting to spawn and they're inside of this square. If we go to over here, as you can see, they're inside of this square right now. And as you can see, they're also randomly rotated. So this one is rotated this way, this one is facing the front, and this one is rotated this way. So they're randomly rotating. And now if we actually spawn a golem, as you can see, they're gonna immediately start attacking the golem. Alright, so this is working fine. So the next thing that we have to do, once this character dies, we want to lower the current spawns. So the spawner is gonna spawn another character if one of those NPCs dies. So the way we're gonna do this, we're gonna go onto the code that you use to control your Dark Knight. And we're gonna open it up and we're gonna link the spawner's S like this. And inside of the start function, we want to link the spawner script to the script that controls the NPC. So the way we're gonna do this, first of all, we're gonna save this, go back to Unity, and we want to add a tag to the spawner. So the reason why we're adding a tag to the spawner is because we want to link the spawner script using the code. So the way we're gonna find this game object inside of the game with the code is by adding a tag. So we're gonna add a tag over here and name it spawner. Alright, so now that we added a brand new tag, we're going to select the spawner again, and under untagged, we're going to select our tag over here, so spawner, like this. Alright, so this is going to be fine. Now we're going to go back to our Visual Studio Code. Inside the start function, we're going to type s equals game object, because we're looking for a game object, dot find game object with tag. Make sure you selected this one. And now inside of the brackets, we have to type the tag. So the tag is spawner, so we're going to type spawner like this. And now as you can see, we're looking for the script that's attached to this game object. So to link the script that's attached to this game object with the tag spawner, we're going to type dot get component. And inside of these symbols, we're going to type spawner. And we also have to type these brackets at the end like this. Alright, so this is automatically going to link the spawner script to the script that controls the NPC. The next thing that you're going to have to do is go under the update function where your character dies. So in my case, this is over here. As you can see, health is lower or equals 0, which means that the character is going to die. And the character is going to disappear in 3 seconds. As you can see, it gets destroyed over here in 3 seconds. So we're going to go over here, and first of all, we're going to check if the spawner script is linked to the script. So we're going to type if spawner is not equals null, like this. So s is not equals to null. And if this is the case, which means that the spawner, we're going to lower the current spawns. So we're going to type s dot current spawns equals s dot current spawns minus 1, like this. Alright, so the next thing that we have to do, because in my case it takes 3 seconds for the character to actually disappear from the game, we don't want to run this code multiple times. So the way we're gonna prevent this is basically we're just gonna unlink the spawner script from the script that controls the NPCs. So the way that we're gonna do this, we're just gonna type s equals null, like this. And now as you can see, this is no longer gonna be true because the spawner script is no longer linked to the script, which means that this thing is only gonna run once. And now if we save this, go back to Unity, and if we press play, and let's wait for the NPCs to spawn again. Now we can select one of the NPCs, go under the health over here, and instead the health, the character is gonna die. So let's just do this, and as you can see, this character just died, and another one spawned. Okay, so this is working fine. And if you go to the spawner over here, you can also increase the number of maximum spawns, so you can set it to 10. And now if you wait a little bit, it's gonna spawn 10 characters. Alright, so this is pretty cool. You can also just spawn them right now, like this. Alright, so now they're fighting, as you can see, and one of them actually died right now. And let's wait for another one to spawn. As you can see, it's working. Alright, so 2 of them are spawned right now. As you can see, there are 2 of them. And we have 3. And now it's no longer spawning another one. And it's gonna wait until actually they won. Okay, cool. Alright, so thanks so much for watching. If this helped you, please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out the AI to create these 3D models of the characters and also animations from them, link is in the description.